member momentarily, is the next battleground. And it's do or die now for Tempo Storm.
And
so with that...
Yeah, I mean, they have to break this Tyrael and Blaze thing now, finally. This is the 4th time that they've lost to exactly that opening, and I cannot, there's absolutely no way in my mind that they will let it go through again.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. What I am very curious to see is Tempo Storm going to choose Dragonshire? I mean, that is a map that they have been very strong on.
It's banned.
Oh wait, am I crazy? It's banned. So they are obviously not going to pick Dragonshire. For some reason, I thought that was a different map. So they are going to take the first pick. I was going to say, I would like to see Tempo take first pick because I feel like it's much better for being able to choke out, you know, that Tyrael Blaze, you're able to separate those heroes much easier with the first pick Tyrael. Tomb, though, this is a map that I'm really excited for. First one I'll be able to analyze. I think second one of this clash.
Yep.
Well, send in your votes. Let us know if Zealots are going to take the series or if Tempo Storm will take us all the way to the end. The ace match, the rubber match, game 5. Tomb of the Spider Queen, what jumps to your mind?
Abathur immediately. I'm not saying they're drafting it again, but they said very clearly after they lost the last time that they feel the draft was not the problem. They played the draft several times in scrim games, and they said it was just a problem with the execution that they had there. I'm not quite sure what's going on behind me, but it's really good.
This is pretty much
He's casting his vote.
Yes. This is pretty much what you were saying as well about that Abathur, or about just draft execution. This is how we felt Tempo Storm really brought it back, where they were like, let's go with this draft again. I'm interested to see if Zealots will run the Abathur again, because as we saw, we were all feeling, we were like on such a small map. We understand why, but we didn't see the results that we'd like to see coming out of it. So are they going to reboot and show it to us again? Because that'd be a treat. And I mean, statistically speaking, both of these teams don't have the strongest win record on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
I mean, one of the big questions is simply Tempo Storm has watched that game, so they know that Abathur might come in, and they also talked to Zealots, and afterwards a lot of the teams have been talking about it. Is Abathur worth it here? And Zealots can make picks like this work, and they said, yeah, the draft was good, we just didn't properly execute it, so if we played it again, we would probably have better success. So Tempo Storm could respect that to an extent where they say, you know what? We might just ban it out. I'm not quite sure if it really happens because you still have Medivh open, and that's probably the better ban if it goes through at the start. But there's definitely now a little bit of mind games going on already.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is I would be very surprised if Zealots picks Abathur and Tempo doesn't have a strategy thought up. Like you guys are saying, it's so recent, right? It's something that I'm sure they've talked about the second that Zealots decided on that Tomb pick. I'm sure one player on Tempo Storm was like, guys, remember they did play Abathur the other day, and then they're probably starting to figure out strategies and talking about it. So Zealots may pick it, but I'm sure Tempo has some kind of a response for it, and they do go for that first pick Tyrael, which I really like, breaking up the Blaze Tyrael, which has been so deadly for the side of Zealots.
They've done it 3 times now. If you have the first pick, they ban Tracer and they immediately pick Tyrael. That has been the play every single time now. So they want to make sure that Tracer doesn't end up on the hands of the Zealots, but this time they don't get the option to ban out Medivh because the Zealots simply, you know what? We're just not gonna pick him late, we pick him early. So first pick Medivh and Blaze. To be honest, great start for them.
They're happy to still pick up the Blaze even though they don't have the Tyrael with it. But this time the Medivh comes into play, and we saw how, I guess, crucial he was in terms of just allowing them to nip in, nip out, really force fights when you could see Tempo Storm weren't ready to take them. So it's very, very... Europe always does it, right? That Medivh, the way they make it work, the way they practice with it, it's just something else.
The Medivh also is really crucial when it comes to the rotations between lanes, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally we would see Roll20, currently Team 12, they would always do a 3-2 with the Haka Medivh just because of the crazy wave clear and rotation speed that you could have on this map. So basically what they do is they take Dahaka Medivh, have him go mid-bottom, and then just rotate off of that. I am curious though, Kaldor, to see if Tempo Storm picks Junkrat to counter that Medivh.
That is an option after what we've seen from Dignitas, but there's another thing that we can also point out here. Diablo becomes an option now too. You can go for the synergy between the ley line, even though we've seen a huge focus on Polybomb, depending on how the fights they're going. So there is a little bit of option for Zealots to branch out of what they've shown so far. I would expect them to try and go for Johanna, to be honest, as their main tank. Mopsio loves to play Johanna. We have Tomb, but there are now all of a sudden a lot of possible variations where Mopsio could use synergies with the rest of the lineup going for a different tank.
Yeah, that is a very good point. So Kerrigan Genji coming out for the side of Tempo Storm. Listen, I'm the biggest Kerrigan fan, but into a Medivh is generally one of the heroes that's considered a counter. So I think this is a very bold decision coming out by Tempo. I mean, they did have a very dominant win on that Sky Temple with the Kerrigan, but I feel like, I mean, it's into one of the counters, right? So how will that play out? I am not sure. Psalm is going to really need to step it up this game against that Medivh.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
Okay.
Confident or stubborn?
I think stubborn. Honestly, I feel like stubborn, or even just, okay, well, we won with this, and we did well with it last time we picked it. Like, we should pick it again type thing, right? And where they've really, I don't want to say struggled, because I feel like this series has been pretty close, but, you know, in that win-loss category, they have struggled, right? Where they have 2 losses, and they're like, okay, we won with Kerrigan, maybe we can do it again.
Andy?
Well, they won with Kerrigan, but they had banned out the Medivh, and like you said, that's just a big counter to what Kerrigan is trying to achieve in terms of also what Genji is trying to achieve, mitigate so much of the burst. And that's, I guess, what Zealots, they had the tools, yes, with the Sanct and the Bunker, but this time it's going to be different because Medivh, he can choose who he wants to apply that to, and more so, it's up and available more often.
I really also think that currently what we're seeing in terms of bans is not working in Tempo Storm's favor. The ban on Uther was a really smart one from the Zealots. They themselves apparently don't want to go for him, and he is just way too good in the synergy with Kerrigan and with Genji, so that was an obvious choice. But with Garrosh now being banned out, it's not the highest here in the priority list of Zealots. Yes, they played him, but mostly on other maps, and it's usually Mopsio that pushes for the hero.
Okay.
And here we have Diablo, as I said before. So there were 2 heroes that I would have been way more concerned about than Garrosh, and that's Diablo and Johanna. Both of them were higher priority for Zealots than Garrosh, so that ban didn't do anything for Tempo, and they misread this a little bit. The games that Zealots played before with Garrosh were mostly on other maps, or when they on this map were forced to play Garrosh because Johanna was banned out.
Yeah, and I think this adaptation, this 3-4 for Zealots, is so strong, right? I look at the side of Zealots, and their composition is so tanky. The Kerrigan, I feel like, is really going to struggle running into this Diablo, into this Malfurion, into this Blade, into this Medivh. But the Malthael is able to get through. This is one of Glorong's favorite heroes, and they do pick up the Rhaegar. So this is very much a, in my opinion, do or die composition for Tempo Storm. We are either going to go in there, we're going to click all of our R buttons, we're going to get a lot of kills, or you're going to disengage, which Medivh is one of the best heroes in the game at disengaging, and we're going to have all our R buttons down, and you're going to basically come in and win the face roll us in the team fight.
Medivh, Bunker, Apocalypse, Twilight Dream, there's a lot there for Zealots, Vandy.
I would have liked to see Tempo Storm rocking that Malfurion. Unfortunately, it was not to be. I feel like the Twilight Dream would have been crucial in stopping the Medivh from getting the portal and then allowing them to have that escape route to disengage. As we said, with the Medivh, yes, Force of Will can only be applied to one target. There's a lot of AoE, a lot of wombo coming out in Tempo Storm, but it's more that disengage factor that I feel like Tempo Storm, yeah, you've got the material to speed you up, but then there's just so much that you have to then kind of account for, and this is where it could come to bite Tempo Storm back.
Yeah, I'm really curious about this next pick, because normally with the composition that Zealots is running right now, what you want to have is some sustainable damage. Okay, they go for Greymane here. I was really a bit afraid that they would go into something along the lines of maybe a Lunara that they showed on Sky Temple, which I really didn't like in this setup against this heavy dive, and this time they decided to go for something that is a bit safer with the setup they are playing. And again, when they played Greymane before with Medivh, it was just so successful because you can keep him alive for so long, and I really like the way they were playing around this. Every team that ADRD has been on has shown, after a short amount of scrim time, incredible synergy with Medivh and the portals, how he enables them, and also the protection. I think this draft is great for the Zealots, and as you said, it's an all-in draft for Tempo Storm.
Yeah, the Garrosh ban, I will say that when Roll20 was playing a ton of Medivh, and Garrosh was first introduced, there was a time in NA where they comboed those 2. And so it's understandable. I think that's where you're seeing the Tempo Storm prioritize, especially after Mopsio has shown such a strong Garrosh at that.
With Medivh earlier today also.
The problem is that you are absolutely right. Diablo just destroys. He's been destroying at this tournament. If Mopsio can play it anywhere near Breeze's level, then it's going to be terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of this game, a lot of these team fights are going to come down to that Medivh versus Tyrael matchup, right? So we were talking about Force Wheels, we were talking about portals, but the way that Leyline interacts with Sanctification is a lot like Void Prism. You basically use the Leyline to counteract that Sanctification, basically nullifying its effects. So I think if ADRD, one of the best Medivhs in the world, right? If he has a very good game, stopping all the Sanctifications or stopping most of the Sanctifications, I think this is an easy win for Zealots. But if not, You know, I feel like Tempo, they do have the tools. Like, these are all very comfortable heroes for them. I do think they have the tools to, you know, win off comfort, win off our mechanical skill is better than yours.
Well, you have presented arguments for both sides, but now I'm going to make you choose one.
I'm voting with my heart.
He has to. If he doesn't, it's the last.
Tempo Storm.
Tempo Storm.
They're going to go to game 5. I can feel it. And then they're going to, you know, just absolute dumpster Dignitas in the finals.
As much as my head is saying, hey, look at this Zealots draft, I too want that game 5, and I need to back Tempo Storm with them. I believe, like we were saying, they have the tools available. It's how they use them. So I believe.
I absolutely don't. You're going to get wrecked now.
I know.
I don't blame you, though. You have to vote with your heart, because if you don't, it means that NA doesn't get the slot. So this is the only chance to bring it into the 5th map.
But I also think there is a chance. That's the thing is, like, a lot of it falls on that Medivh versus Tyrael match that I was talking about.
All right. I'm sorry, friends, but I'm seeing Zealots draft, and I gotta vote.
You
Get away from me. I don't want to do that. Reverse psychology. Shh. Chat vote.
That's one way to work.
Chat agrees with this side of the desk. Understandable why Zealots have been climbing. They've been making a tear through this tournament, and we'll see if they can take out Tempo Storm right here. Over to you, Dreadnought and J-How.
Dread, this is Tempo Storm, the Kerrigan Malthael dive composition. It's reminiscent of their draft in game number 2, and this is kind of what got them here. Their tournament hopes are on the line here in game number 4 against Zealots.
It's one of those, you know, because the analysis we're talking, was it stubborn? Is this sitting with the comfort? I like the fact that Tempo was able to get the win with aggro, and when everything's on the line, they bring it back to the aggression. That is why they're here. But first, one game away from sending them home is Zealots in blue. ADRD on Medivh, Zarmany on the Blaze, Diablo played by Mopsio, Shad on Malfurion, and Chris playing the Grey Mane.
Tempo Storm, with their tournament lives on the line, have to take this game number 4 against Zealots. They're going to be on the right in red. And on that team will be Caterpillar on Tyrael, Fan on Genji, Som trying to carry it all on Kerrigan, Glaurung on Malthael, June on Rhaegar.
Immediate thoughts, fears, focus when it comes to this game with these compositions? I mean, we know we need to see the 4-man deathball, a lot of kills coming out from Kerrigan in the rotations. But what about on the sides of Zealots? Is there anything that you know you want to see in rotation here, J-How?
When I see rotations, it's kind of weird because Diablo doesn't really pick up until later in the game. And he's getting pulled directly in. You see the portal out.
Response from Zarmany, though, the flank of the jet propulsion. They baited the initiation, knowing Tempo wanted to get aggro. Flank from the side there. Mopsio and friends setting up Tempo Storm and then punishing hard.
You know, I'm sitting here thinking like, all right, Kerrigan went block. That's really, really good considering their main fear is going to be that Grey Mane, but that looked like it hurt in many ways. This is so many times. I don't know how many times Blaze is going to be let through for Zarmany, because every time these early skirmishes have started, multiple times in this series, Tempo starts it, Zarmany re-engages, and things seem to go in Zealot's favor.
Yeah, I agree with you. Zarmany on the Blaze, all of today has been outstanding. You know, I feel like the dude's got to be walking around just singing like, "This boy is on fire," because he's just nailing it. He's all over the place on the hero. And he's done such an amazing job with this bunker to be a counter initiator. But last time, when we talked about the aggression, bringing back what we have seen from game number 2 and the aggression that Tempo Storm's drafted, every time the bunker went down, or at least most of the time the bunker went down, if there was any kind of threat onto the backline, Sanctification was there. And Tempo Storm was just like, you know, if you want to join the party here, we would like to teach you what this invulnerability area is going to provide. And that is, the answer is really just a lot of pain.
You know, speaking of party, at least we know what type of music you generally hang out with. You know, I thought your musical tastes were a little bit different, but when you think of fire, you think of Alicia Keys. This is fantastic. Eye-opening. I can't wait for the next 5 weeks of HGC NA as we'll quote all of Dread's favorites. But here, Tempo Storm will be fighting as both teams picked up their early night camps. Not much accomplished with either of those.
The threat here in the mid with the night camp, it's one of those situations where with a Kerrigan composition and this kind of melees that we see from Tempo Storm, you have one of two options when you pick up camps. You either are going to hope that your opponent makes the mistake of overextending on the defense and get the kill, or you look elsewhere and look for a kill at a different section. When you see them match it and try and back up the camp, but it's not being overly proactive, generally speaking, that buys a lot of time for Zealots. At this stage of the game, not going to gain them too much, but as we move forward, I want to see maybe at least an attempt if Tempo's going to kind of at least hang out in that section of the map.
I think after that first go-round, it feels feels like maybe Tempo doesn't necessarily want to force it, and it's a bit scary to think about. And as you have Medivh literally looming over your head. It actually reminds me going back to last year where Schwempy was on Medivh, and there's just like a prime target or two. You just kind of hang out. And speaking of hanging out, they had their eyes on Som, unable to get much going there, but the threat is always there at any given moment.
I like the fact that we saw Fan, wait out the shadow charge there before going and get the Swift Strike in, because not able to provide that threat. If we had seen that come out from him, would have been a nice counter initiation there from Mopsio. We're seeing a counter initiation on bottom. There's the Jet Propulsion. There's the root flip available for Mopsio if he can get in range. Shadow charge, toss over. Heals coming out from June and from Mouthdale, but it's not enough. Another kill here for Zealots and enough gems to be able to force this turn. This is a situation where if they can keep up this momentum and get the structures and open up this map, Tempo Storm's composition really struggles if they fall behind structurally on like maps like Tomb of the Spider Queen. They need kills in the early stages.
I think more than kills, they have to deny the first turn in, because if you don't, I mean, you are basically full melee and a Genji defending against Webweaver.
I think you put it best, because you are right. I say they need to get the kills. The answer is no, they don't. Just generally getting those kills is going to stop that turn in with this comp. The answer is you are right. You absolutely need to just not get wrecked structurally. And that usually means dodging a turn-in. Shad gets it. Mopsio with the block, pins him against the wall, flips over. We see the follow-up root there. Cattle looking to join in with the shield smite. Already been thrown down. Saul makes it out, but Portal, ADRD throws out the Arcane Rift. Not going to get the kill, but he is sharking above here. Nice heals from June's going to make sure not within lethal range.
Not within lethal range. And you know right now Tempo Storm is happy that level 7's picked up, because now June will have a cleanse on his Rhaegar for moments like that. As Psalm barely escaped, he's going to get down. Those sharpened blades try and do some damage.
Oh, very good cleanse there from June. Cattle out a little bit too far, threw down the Druid. Shad had great punishment by dropping the root on the escape, and Mopsio was prepared to get the flip over. Very much could have been one dead Caterpillar. The Mopsio gets that flip, but again, June clutching it here for the team. Tempo Storm not able to get a kill in the early stages. The Webweaver phase keeping the status of how's the structures looking. Hold up, Psalm opens with a combo. Interesting choice to get aggressive there. Chris is going to take the portal away.
He's going to take the portal away. He actually stood in there a little bit longer than I anticipated. He's trying to get some Wizened Duelist stacks up. He goes Wizened Duelist one more time when you're in. Psalm. He ends in his Ravage.
Yeah, he'll be able to pull away just good to get to the minion wave. Chris goes in. Zarmany's here. Throws out the Jet Propulsion. Fan out a little bit too far here. Has the Cyber Agility over. Chris taking too much damage, and Zealots is going to back away here. But I want to highlight that Tempo Storm did end up losing a reasonable amount when it came to the map objective here. Zealots didn't over siege. Normally when we see Webweaver phase, right, you're like, here's the moment we siege up. But more often than not, or not more often than not, but right here it was focusing on team fighting, and nobody was really getting a clear on the side of Tempo Storm. So Zealots, even though they don't have necessarily the best siege, pre-10, they still ended up getting a decent amount into a pretty poor sieging composition on Tempo. I feel like Zealots got more than they should have expected out of the first Webweaver phase, and if they get a fort, mainly mid-fort, I feel like it's going to be very crippling on rotations for Tempo Storm. A good thing to be able to stop that, though, is Webweaver phase. But I'm going to raise a bit of an awkward situation, Jay-How, and that's experience. It's not there yet,
it's close.
But it's going to be.
It's super close. You know, we've actually had some pretty lengthy discussions about Tomb of the Spider Queen in early turn-ins and how that is affected. Right now, we see Tempo Storm. They're going to try and get as much experience. They're going to try and push with this Night Camp. They have the spell armor, so there's not a huge fear. But the minute 10 hits, Dread, we could be looking at a Leyline APOC in a blink of an eye.
We could, but because Tempo Storm is soaked on bottom and top, they're actually keeping up with this race and experience. It's not going to be too much to where they need to be overly fearful of Zealots. Zealots ended up getting enough damage onto mid to where that Webweaver's going to drop. Night Camp still existing. Tempo making the transition here towards the top half of the map. And just purely the threat of the 10 mixed with the aggressive composition currently, it should be a very free four onto the top half of the map. First one of the game here for Tempo, and it's pretty good for them, because even though I've been, concerned about the structure advantage if it goes against them, Zealots don't have much to claim for their own in the wave clear department either.
That's actually a major turnaround for Tempo Storm. It's hard to kind of articulate just how scary of a situation that was for Tempo Storm at that instant to get that turn in. They got it at what seems to be almost the perfect time. And there's a lot of complexities around the turn-ins in the early part, but Tempo Storm getting that, neutralizing that, getting a fort for themselves definitely turns it around. I also want to look at some of the heroics now, Dread. We see Maltha, he was contemplating going Last Rites or whether he would go Tormented Souls. Last Rites seems to be the new meta pick, but against a Medivh on such a short cooldown to deny that potential Last Rites, it's, oh wow.
Jet propulsion flip, root, protected, already used there. Fan's gonna swift strike away. No kill to be gained yet here. Both teams poking around. Salmons are committing to the mid lane, so it doesn't show Tempo Storm having any interest over this bottom lane skirmish.
Who can blame them? Both teams now have enough for a turn-in. We'll see which team can try and manage that first. ADRD under assault, sitting at 15 Masters touch stacks. Got to make sure not to be too risky. But I just feel like Dread, both of these teams have so much blow-up potential. The Leyline APOC, you can see the zoning out there. Malthael isolated. June not able to make it over. He gets the Ancestral out early. Here comes the Leyline.
Yeah, a bit early there, but enough damage onto Malfurion. Actually, Shad takes the portal and gets the Force of Will. He keeps himself alive. The Twilight Dream did lock Genji down enough to get the kill. 35 gems onto Psalm are going to be left here on the floor of Tomb of the Spider Queen.
That is a major turnaround. You can see Zarmany already splitting off. They're going to try and just double up here. Make sure get the turn in. Get the big push with the Siege Giants down here. And you can see Malthael just isolated and June not able to make it over in time.
Shad did such a great job there. The Ancestral came out a little bit early. I don't know if that would have changed the outcome of this fight, but being able to kite around, getting that Force of Will from Medivh, portaling right back, the fact that they didn't end up losing that really is devastating for Tempo Storm because, I mean, at this point, it doesn't even feel like necessarily they can win these fights. I mean, they can, but it's just keep in mind the mentality. When you go into that skirmish and things get that close and it's always out of grasp, just barely out of reach, it can be devastating to your mentality and your confidence. And every initiation Tempo Storm has had, that exact thing has happened. Mopsio skirmishing away, taking the portal out. They're over in mid. At what point do you just go, we can't initiate?
Dread APOC wasn't even used in that fight either.
You know,
I mean, Leyline
let's
came
not
out.
even talk about how that would have impacted everything.
Oh, speaking of, there's the cleanse on the Psalm as Mopsio gets the dive over. He did go into that devastating charge. That's one stack. You get that. Psalm with the pull in, but does he have enough support to get out of there? Cleanse already used. Fan on the backside. He's getting bullied. He's getting tossed around, and he's holding for now, but is it enough as he's starting to fall?
Sanctification's used, but Fan's not able to get into position properly. Cattle's out of mana. I don't know if he has enough for Aldruins. I don't know if he has time for it because Twilight Dream silencing 2 members of Tempo Storm. 3 are now going to be dropping. And Zealots with this Webweaver up on mid. They both have top Webweaver and bottom still sieging. That is a lot of experience on store. Confidently going to be 16 talents here and likely this middle keep.
It was dead even just 1.5, 2 minutes ago, and now we're looking at a 2-level lead, a keep going down. Psalm's got to be extremely careful. I guarantee you, between a portal and a Diablo charge, they will easily try and take this.
Without the 16 immediately being there after the keep dropping though, play it more safe, back out. But the world is really Zealots here. They can pretty much make Tomb of the Spider Queen their playground. There is nothing that they should fear on the side of Tempo Storm with the 3-level disadvantage and that major talent here. Win conditions are available, you know, pretty much at all angles. I feel like the biggest power play at this point in time, because the window is so colossal, is going to be one of 2 things, depending on how fearful you are of the very, very late game. And that's going to be either a major boss play, ever painting the map blue, Webweaver phase in, or avoiding the boss because of how long it takes to kill, and then cycling, focusing the pressure towards both bottom and top keeps, and making sure they get as much siege onto the keeps before the 16 is here for Tempo. It looks like Zealots is going to go with the boss play.
Who can blame them? They're close is Tempo Storm to a turn in. They seem to have complete control. As you said, they can make it their playground, and it seems like they're basically able to do whatever they want. With that 2-level lead, Tempo Storm has had a tough time into those fights. It's been a difficult transition for Tempo Storm to try and make these compositions work against Zealots, who plays a very defensive, kind of protected option with the way the ADRD plays, whether it's the Tassadar, whether it's the Medivh, and oh, by the way, Zarmany's bunker.
There's now the 16 talent tier here, the boss pushing up, and there was no Webweavers consumed here by Zealots, and I actually really enjoy this decision making. I want to see how much they actually end up getting out of the boss. Expect a hard initiation when this front wall ends up dropping here. Blaze is now making the rotation out. They need to get past this wall. Nice root, forcing the cleanse out of June. The minute it drops, I expect a ley line initiation. Cattle trying to zone out, using that holy ground split a little bit too far out here. Jet propulsion used combo.
Big combos going in. Psalm the ley line in response. Here comes the APOC. Is it timed enough? It is not, as we see Sanctification go down as well. Glaurung trying to put damage on, but the Twilight Dream in response.
June ends up, or Fan gets flipped over. The kill is there. Nice combo coming out, but the protection is there onto Shad. He gets the heal, and Tempo Storm ends up losing themselves a Mouthdale. Kato trying to buy as much time away from the core. Psalm goes in for the combo, and look at that. Force of wills everywhere here from ADRD on the Medivh. The reabsorption ensuring no one goes down.
Dread, it seemed like Psalm didn't have to go in, but the minute he goes in, if he goes down, that's game. And right now, we have Catapults on core, and they are going in there trying to finish this. Cattle using that Eldruins. Chris going in for the kill. This is Zealots trying to move on to the grand finals. The shields have fallen, and Tempo Storm looks to be failing.
75% and counting. They do have a Genji. If they can get a couple of resets, maybe Tempo can hold on. The bunker drop 10%, and that is it. Zealots, in fact, will send home Tempo Storm and move on. My goodness, was that a dominant performance for them on Tomb of the Spider Queen. 13 minutes in, 12-0 in terms of kills.
Another dominant performance here for our Cinderella story of Zealots. They just, a team that did not expect to be here, that got in at the thinnest of margins coming into the last week, taking down what was arguably the best team in the world just to qualify for the Western Clash. Now they have made their way all the way through to the finals, redeeming themselves here against Tempo Storm, taking down North America's last hope, and somehow, in insurmountable odds, find themselves in the grand finals of our first HGC Clash here in 2018.
When HGC Europe kicked off in 2018, Team Dignitas looked very, very dominant for a long while. When the Western Clash started off, Dignitas, they looked pretty dominant for a majority of it. But then at the very end, Zealots ended up having a series against Dignitas. You can't help but feel like that has got to be lingering, that feel. Dominant through everything, holding your own. And then suddenly, Zealots, you know, they've been doing pretty good against everybody else. And then when we have to face them, will Dignitas have the mentality, the mental strength? They're a roster of full veterans, international experience. I feel personally like they're going to have that ability to have that, but Zealots, with the miracle and the momentum they have going for them, it's insane that they have made it all the way here to the grand finals.
Team named Dignitas faced a similar path going through the lower bracket last year. We'll see if Zealots can complete the miracle, the Cinderella story. But first, we're going to send it back to Gillyweed and team to talk about this last series.
The miracle, the momentum, maybe even just the crowd. Whatever it is, Zealots takes out the final North American team here, Tempo Storm, and goes to the grand finals for the rematch against Team Dignitas. Frankly, couldn't think of a better story.
Yeah, it's actually fantastic for them. And for Dignitas, this is probably one of those moments where they said, I would have rather faced Tempo.
Yeah, especially after they 3-0'd to Tempo earlier, though Tempo started climbing back into the series, kind of. Vandy?
I mean, they did. They were doing quite well, and we were willing them, hoping for that fifth game. But I was just sort of saying to you, I'm like, it's such a shame. Tempo Storm, mechanically speaking, they've got great skills. What's kind of holding them back is that a little bit of that stubbornness sometimes to drop the full melee compositions that they know and love and just get some range damage in there, please.
Yeah, it felt too like Tyrael was so crucial to them in separating the Tyrael Blaze, but being in second pick too with Blaze might have been an issue for them. Didn't see them be willing to draft that as much, and as we heard from Zarmany, he was surprised that he kept being able to get that here. We'll see if Team Dignitas allows that, but Michael Udall, you've got a few plays to show off from that series.
3 plays to be exact. I'm really excited to show you guys the top 3 plays of the series, starting off with number 3. It is going to be on Towers of Doom, baby. I'm excited for this one. As you can see, Chris just got that D-Shield, turning onto the Tracer, getting the one-shot, killing June here as well, and Shad in the back is able to actually take someone down as well. And then look at this, all of them are at about 1% HP. Mobshield running in with 10% HP, getting that shield off. Shad just running people down, and there they get the kill on Glaurung, and Cattle is going to fall as well. I don't know if we'll catch it with the end of the replay. Yeah, we're not going to be able to, but this, I love this play. Watch. Keep your eyes on this Medivh play, stopping Fan's Dragon Blade with the Leyline. Watch this beautiful Leyline getting 3 heroes, isolating Psalm, allowing them to do so much damage here. And Shad, look at him. 10% HP, running away, getting Vero's last Moonfire, saving his life, and Psalm is about to drop 36 gems. That is a huge turning point in this game. And number one, it's Psalm with the blink combo on the Kerrigan. I just feel like this was, won the team fight just so fast. And right there, the blink combo onto two heroes, just turning the fight, and Fan with the follow-up, bringing it in. This beautiful sanctification coming out by Cattlepero. The one game that Tempo Storm was able to win in this Heroes off of Psalm's blink combo.
Yeah, it feels fitting that the one game Tempo Storm won was won with a Kerrigan. They went out in style, but it's Zealots who move on to the grand finals versus Team Dignitas, and we have Zealots Shad here to talk with us and break down that series. Shad, all I want to hear is, first of all, congratulations. When did you guys believe that you could make it to the grand finals? At what point in this tournament did you start believing in yourselves that you could do that?
I guess after beating 12, the first game, we dominated a lot. We played really, really well that series. And I think, let's play and see what happens. Do our best. I think we can get to the finals at least. And yeah, here we are.
There you are. Questions for Shad?
I have a question in regards to pressure, because we've heard a lot that you guys came in and you were like, okay, let's just have some fun. And I think that was also the mentality that helped you to the victory against Dignitas in the regular season, at least according to your teammates. Do you still have that mindset right now?
Yeah.
Or now that you're in the final, do you all of a sudden think, okay, we have to win this one?
Yeah, no pressure. If we lose against Dignitas is a great team. They're super good. And it would be no shame losing against them.
All right.
My question is that, I guess, Athera was saying that in the series that when you guys came up against each other and you took the win away from them, he was saying it wasn't so much as you guys winning, but he felt more it was Dignitas losing. And I'm just wondering, I want to hear your thoughts on that, because he said he's very confident when he comes up against you again as a team that they will get the win against you.
I mean, they probably didn't have their best day when we won against them, but we have also improved since that moment. So I think we have even more chances than before to beat them, even if they're on a good day or on a normal day, and we are now on a good momentum. I think we have the chance to take them.
Awesome.
Shad, I just want to hear it from your lips. Are you the best Dukov player in the world?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who's better? Who's better?
People don't play it, so I don't know.
So yes, you're the best Dukov. People should be
guess.
playing. People should be taking notes of your roots. Seriously, so many amazing Stukov plays, and I just want to hear. Can you say it for me?
I'm the best Tukov?
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
All right, Shad, before I let you go prepare with your team, you guys have a lot of crowd favorites, or you guys are a crowd favorite because you have the Polish players, you guys have the amazing story, the underdog story, and I know there's a lot of people in chat who would love to hear from you. So what words do you have for your fans?
Well, I mean, of course, thank you. Like, there's a lot of people with hashtag #ZealotsWin and stuff, and it really pumps up us and gives us a lot of motivation to keep going and maintaining the momentum. So thank you everyone who supports us. Keep doing so. We will beat Dignitas now.
So Mopsio and ADRD have not given you any kind of Polish words for the crowd?
Sorry, what?
Mopsio and ADRD haven't taught you anything in Polish for the crowd?
Not really. At least not any nice words.
We'll save those ones. We're gonna save that one.
If you win against Dignitas, I expect here to have a full Polish sentence.
Don't put any extra pressure there here. I think
I
grand
don't know.
finals.
Have you
is
met
enough.
me? I'm really good at that.
Yeah,
We will
we
try.
know. Congratulations, Shad, and good luck to you in the grand finals.
Thank you very much.
One last time, everybody, at least for this series, let us check out the bracket now and see Zealot's path, because my goodness, they deserve to be there. They dropped down to the lower bracket in the first round of the tournament. 2-0 Tempo Storm beat them. And they had the longest climb you could possibly have back through Team Freedom, Team 12. They took out Fnatic, and then they got the win in the rematch versus Tempo Storm. They took out every single North American team after that, except Heroes Hearth Esports. Zealots versus Team Dignitas. I am pumped for this grand finals. Vandy.
Do you guys want to hear a bit of an interesting thing? Back before I was leaving ANZ to go to the Western Clash, I had just like a couple of guys just be like, can we sit down, ask you a couple questions? And they're like, who do you have your eye on? And then I was like, I'm really impressed with Zealots. I believe that they've taken a game of Dignitas. They've shown once again, if they get another opportunity, I think they can do it. And I was saying this even before I'd come to the Clash. So I'm like, I'm going to have to root for them and go the whole way.
How
For
could
me,
you not?
it was exactly the opposite. I came in and at the beginning of the tournament, it was everything about can NA win a series? And so everybody was asking, who's the European team that could lose? And I straight up said, okay, I believe that Zealots is going to have a rough time in this environment, also going up against Tempo. Then they lost that series, and at that point, it was just simply, okay, there is absolutely no way that they go far in the tournament. So I'm absolutely amazed that they made it all the way through to the grand final. And it's a fantastic story. And at this point, they really have it in them to take it. They're still the underdog, but they've shown that they're capable of doing it.
And Mike, their mentality is a huge reason, surely, as part of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're talking about no pressure, right? Coming into it with no expectations. Generally, I feel like that's such a common statement for teams that do really well. It's, you know what, we don't have pressure. We're just playing the game. Like, it's just another day in the office. I feel like that's the best way to kind of look at it, where it's just no extra added pressure. Because once you start to get that pressure, you start double guessing yourself, or you start thinking, I have to be a hero, and just going way more aggressive than you should.
Well, with that, we are going to prepare for the HGC Western Clash Grand Finals. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, Zealots take on Team Dignitas for our Grand Finals.